Welcome to Inside Area 9. I'm Kathy Bridgford and I'm your host today, and I'm with the Area 9 In-Home and Community Services Agency. Today we're going to be talking about winter preparedness, what we should be doing to get ready for the bad weather that might approach us this winter. Today my guests are Beth Evans. Beth, thank you for coming. You're the Meals Program Director for Area 9.
Yes.
And Fred Griffin. And Fred, you are the Director of the Wayne County Emergency Management Agency,
That's
correct?
right.
Okay. Well, we've got some experts here today joining us and
that.
telling us what we need to do and just help people, especially seniors, things that they should be getting ready for now, and just to help them keep safe and plan for unexpected weather. Beth, you're with the Meals Program. Tell us just a little bit about the Meals Program before we talk about the emergency stuff.
We do the Meals on Wheels in 5-county area, and we have volunteers and drivers that will deliver the meals every day. So we do a daily contact when we're there to make sure the client's well-being is okay. So we value that as much as the meal itself. And then clients that need services are through an eligibility screening. We do an intake and assessment to make sure they're eligible, but also to see if there's other services that they may benefit from.
And that's, the cost is based on a donation.
Right.
Right, on most of people.
We're federally funded, so we encourage $2.50 per meal. And the meal actually cost our program $6.50, so $2.50 is what we ask the clients to do. And the more donations we get, the more people we can serve.
And that's a pretty reasonable amount, $2.50 for a meal.
You can't buy a Coke in some places for that.
Right. That's true.
So.
That's true, and I like.
And that's not healthy either.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. It is a healthy meal.
It is a well-balanced meal, yes.
So many seniors do not get the well-balanced meals anymore. So
A lot of people we hear just eat cereal for lunch, or a lot of people we hear will eat our meal that we delivered for lunch and dinner. So they kind of spread it out because that's all they have. So some folks are approved for 2 meals a day, depending on the funding and their need. So we offer breakfast, box lunches, and frozen meals, as well as the hot lunch.
And to receive a meal, they would just need to call the Area 9 office?
Just call our office and we'll do an intake assessment.
Okay. And so they won't get a meal the next day, but
Right.
soon. It doesn't
Soon
take too
after.
long.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So we're not equipped to take care of an emergency that we're talking
Right.
about today.
Yes.
But you have a box here that will take care of those emergencies.
Right, we do.
So tell us about that.
We call this our shelf-stable meal, and we give all of our clients the opportunity to order one or as many as they want. And the box contains 2 meals that are shelf-ready, so that if we do have a weather day, they would have this on their shelf. We usually also do the frozen as well, but you never know what tomorrow will bring. So if we're out for an extended period of time, then they can pull this off their shelf.
Okay. And anything in here does not need electricity.
Right.
To
Just
eat
can pop it open and eat it.
Okay. Can you tell us like some of the things that's in it?
We have an entree. This particular one is chicken noodles, and then there's also a spaghetti. Then they'll have a fruit and a juice, a grain bar, and crackers for their bread, and then there's dried milk as well.
Okay. And the dried milk would just require water?
Right.
So it'd be 2 meals in there. Now, do they have to pay extra for this meal?
We ask them to pay a donation as well, so
Okay.
$5 for the box.
Okay. Okay. Which still, that's only $2.50 for each meal, so
Right.
that's a good deal. Can anybody else access this emergency pack, or is it just for clients?
Anybody that's interested, we could arrange it for them to have one. We would just need some basic information from them.
Now, how do you tell them keep it on the shelf until that emergency?
We tell them, but we encourage them to do that because we don't like to have to close, and we worry about them, but that's all we can do.
And I'm sure the expiration takes us through the winter on all the
Yes.
things, and so you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
So really the best thing is keep it on your shelf until the winter weather is
Right.
completely gone, and then
And
you can
hopefully eat it this spring.
Yeah, there you go. How many did you deliver this year?
We delivered 110 packs.
10. Wow, that's good. And the drivers deliver that with them?
With their regular delivery, they delivered.
Now you have a congregate meals as well that you do at various meal sites. Can those people have one as well?
Yes, we encourage them because they can't get out as well, so we encourage those folks to pick them up too.
Well, talking about, you know, if you have to close, that we wouldn't be able to provide a meal for them. How do you make those decisions when to close?
It's one of the hardest decisions because you worry about not getting to the clients, but also in the fact of delivering, then you have the risk of putting your staff and your volunteers out in that weather. So you really have to look at it, and I always think back that we do have, we watch the weather, and then if we know a storm's coming, then we'll take multiple meals out before it may come. So it's really hard. But folks should listen for the radio to say Area 9 Meals on Wheels are closed.
Okay, not Meals on Wheels, because people get confused with that, don't they?
Because there's another program with the hospital, but it's Area 9 Meals on Wheels.
And the meals come from down south somewhere.
Batesville.
Batesville, okay. So the weather could be different in Batesville than it is up here, so you have to kind of look at all that, don't you?
We even cover Franklin County, which is very rural. So sometimes we'll actually close one area and not the others. But if my caterer can't get to me, then we do have to close. So, you know, we may be sitting at our office looking out the window saying, oh, we should be delivering, when we just can't get the meals to us. So it is a dilemma to face.
So you probably spend several hours up at night.
I usually get up about every hour, depending on the weather, every 2 hours, because you have to close at like 3 in the morning. That's when they start preparing to get the meals to us in time. And we deliver about 500 meals a day. So it's not just, you know, 10 meals or so. It's a big quantity that they're preparing. So it's a big decision.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fred, that kind of gets into you. I bet you spend many hours up at night, too, don't you, during the winter weather?
We'd get phone calls.
I bet so. And I think you've even come in pretty early in the mornings and at your office, probably stayed all night sometimes.
Sometimes we don't get away. We like to keep those to a minimum, but, you know, it's whatever the job requires. So.
Yeah. You know, going back to the road conditions, you know, making that decision, I know there's always confusion on when they say there's a level 1 or a level 2, or the different storms. There's a storm warning or a storm watch. Can you kind of explain that to us, so clear it up for us?
Let's do the National Weather Service first.
Okay.
The Weather Service, our weather forecasting comes out of Wilmington, Ohio. For our area, and this kind of changes as you move south or farther north, but for our area, a winter storm watch would be issued if we're expecting around 6 inches of snow or more. So if a winter storm watch is issued or they issue a winter storm warning, that's a good indication that we're going to get what we would consider a lot of snow. That's going to impair some travel, at least for a period of time until highway crews can get out. What we would rather see is a winter weather advisory, which is issued when they're expecting 3 inches or less. So if we can get through the winter with some winter weather advisories, which we've already had, we'll be all right. That has nothing to do with temperature. That is actual precipitation. And as you move farther south, those levels kind of diminish a little bit, because the farther you go south, they're not as used to driving on snow as we are. And I hope we don't get too used to it, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get broke in.
Yes.
Because winter is now here, and it looks like it's going to stay.
Yeah.
So the biggest effect that we have from winter storms is on travel. We can also have effects on power, which could also influence being able to prepare your food. From a transportation standpoint, Wayne County has an emergency transportation ordinance. It has 3 levels. We use levels in our communication. We also use the Indiana terminology, such as the level 1 is a transportation advisory. No restrictions on travel, just telling everybody, hey, this is a little bit unusual weather conditions affecting the roadways. Take some extra time, use some extra caution to get where you need to go safely. Again, no restriction on travel. In a case where we would like to keep people off the roads, give road crews a chance to get roads opened up, make travel as safe as they can make it, the county commissioners can declare a level 2 or a travel watch. The travel watch is saying, hey, you can go to work, you can go to school, you can go do essential things, but limit your travel to just those things. It's not a time to go out and catch a movie or do a little extra shopping or those kind of things. But if you have a doctor's appointment, you can go. Again, use all necessary caution. And if it's bad enough, very bad, we're even having trouble keeping highway crews on the road, we may issue a level 3. That is also an emergency declaration from the county commissioners. That is called a travel warning, and means that essentially all county roads, all roads maintained by the county highway department are closed, except to emergency vehicles and emergency services personnel who may need to get someplace in a hurry. When we get in those kind of situations, the travel is extremely difficult and maybe life-threatening, so it's always best to have a plan, stay wherever you are. We don't know when these storms are always going to hit. They may be overnight, they may come in during the day. Timing is a big factor in decision making on those. Among the things that we do consider, weekend storms versus during the week storms, there's a lot of complexity in making those decisions. But for any winter storm, I think having a plan in place so you know, hey, if I'm stranded, most people would prefer to be stranded at home, but it's not always possible. Be prepared to stay where you're at until conditions improve enough where you can get where you need to go safely. Is the biggest ticket, I think.
Talking about that, being prepared, like if you're not at home, you might be in the car.
Correct.
What should we do, when we leave home, when there's weather, even just cold weather, probably just at any time? What should we keep in the car to help us in case we get stranded in the car?
Well, the first thing, let's make sure the car is ready for winter too.
Okay.
So get the car serviced, get it winterized, make sure you got good tires that can handle winter weather. So if our car is good, hopefully we can get where we're going. Add some winter driving safety component in there. It's always better to slow down, take it slow, and you can get where you need to go in most cases. There's a break-in period here, and I think we're kind of still in the break-in period, transitioning from that. We've been driving in summer, nice, dry, or good traction on roadways to now it's maybe a little iffy sometimes. So slow down, take it easy, avoid sudden steering inputs, avoid sudden braking. So plan your stops, and if we can keep the speed down, at least we're not going to hit things as hard if we do lose control of the vehicle. So it makes things better for everybody. And if we stay on the road, hopefully that prevents somebody else from having an accident as well. So there's some downstream things that can happen if you get involved in an accident that you really don't want to be the cause of. Next thing, and I can get kind of bad about this myself. I'm going to walk from the house to the car. I'm going to drive wherever I need to go, get out of the car, go into a building. I'm going to be there all day. I may not take a coat. Well, that's a bad idea. If I am in an accident or the car does stall or I get stranded, now I've got no protection. So make sure you've got hat, gloves, coat, at least in the car with you so that if you need it, it's there. There's some other things that would be good, handy to have in your car for winter as well. Some extra blankets if you would get stranded or the car would stall, then you've got some ability to help stay warm. Always keep your tank at least half full during the winter months so that if you do become stranded, then you can run you've got some gasoline, you can run the motor a little while each hour, about 10 minutes every hour is all you need to run that to stay warm. Okay. Have some flashlights, batteries. I eat like to eat, so have some munchies in there so
That's a good
you can keep your
idea.
calorie intake up, and that also helps you stay warm. Move around, some just moving muscles, major muscle groups, flexing legs, flexing arms, helps keep the blood circulating. But most importantly, probably if you are stranded, stay with the car. Don't try to walk out. Especially in the middle of a storm, that can be very dangerous, and it's very easy to get disoriented. So stay with the vehicle. Somebody will find you. Our roads are traveled fairly routinely, so somebody will find you.
Well, you know, last year down at Atlanta, they're not used to driving, you know, in weather, and there was hundreds
It was
of
ugly.
people. Yeah,
It was ugly.
And, you know, poor kids were on a bus for, you know, 8 hours,
Right.
you know. So, you know, it is important, like you said, to keep, you know, keep some, candy bars, some extra bottle of water or something
Right.
in there. You just never know. So, and one of the things that, you know, I used to be bad at is not making sure my battery was charged on my cell phone, because I can charge it in the car. But, you know, if you run out of gas,
You just lost the ability to charge your cell phone.
Yeah.
And cell phones are great. Cell phones have been a kind of a game changer for emergency response, both on the civil side, the fire, police, EMS, but also on the citizen side as well, because there's a wide variety of information that you can get. You can get weather service information, you can get your forecast, you can get the warnings. There are apps that will allow you to put an emergency plan together, check your plan, inventory your emergency supplies, first aid. There's just a variety of things that are available to assist you if your phone is charged.
you know, they have so many things now with your phones that you can get those extra batteries that, you know, instant, you can plug it in and get instant charge. And those are awesome, except you got to make sure that's charged too.
Correct. And you know, those items make great Christmas gifts as well.
They do. And, you know, but do make sure, I keep one in the car, but, you know, I went to use it and it wasn't charged. It had run out of battery. So, yeah, make sure you keep those charged as well. Well, moving on into from the car to the home now, what are some of the things that we should be thinking about to keep us safe in a storm at home?
Again, make sure the home is ready for winter. Biggest thing there is making sure your heating system is inspected, cleaned, serviced, ready to go. If you burn some type of fuel, having a carbon monoxide detector as well as a smoke detector, working smoke detector in the residence is always a good idea. Whether it's hardwired or battery powered, make sure it's serviceable. You know what the alarms mean, you know how to check it, you know how to respond. I think the most important thing for seniors is probably, besides having some of the things they may need around the house, is making sure they've got a network of folks that can assist them. Area 9 may be part of that network. Neighbors, family, friends that can be counted on. And it takes a network because nobody is available 100% of the time. But yet the needs of the senior may be 100% of the time. So, or at least when they need it, they need somebody to respond. So get your network set up. Have some trusted individuals that can pop in on you, check on you, assist you with some things you may need around the house, or maybe cleaning up after a winter storm. It's very difficult work and can be life-threatening shoveling out from a big snow. So most seniors really don't need to be tackling that.
Right, right.
So if they can rely on their network to help them get through the winter, and having that network in place can also assist them during some of the storms we see in the spring and the summer months as well. So I think putting that network together is extremely valuable. Other than that, have the things you may need, the food supplies. This is a great program to have in place, but for most people, just going out and adding a few items when they're doing their daily shopping or their weekly shopping, add a few extra items to their list that they can just set back and have when they need it during a storm. Make sure it's the things that fit your diet, things you're going to use anyway, so you're really not adding cost, and you're going to use those items at some point anyway. Just buy a few so you've got some extra on hand, enough to get through 3 or 4 days. Same thing with medications. Medications are critical for seniors, so make sure you talk to your doctor and pharmacist. Make sure you can have an extra supply of those on hand. Keep track of those, so if you're about to run out and there's a storm coming, you don't want to be without your medication. So make sure you've got some of those on hand as part of your emergency kits as well. Power outages, especially if we get ice, power outages can be, well, ice or wind, power outages can be a critical thing in the winter. First of all, you lose heat, you lose the ability to charge cell phones. If you're on home oxygen or you have other home medical devices that require electricity, that could be a real problem. Again, having that network in place to assist you, that you can call and say, hey, I need help, either getting someplace that has electricity, or maybe you have a generator that could assist for a short period of time in providing power to those items. Talk to the manufacturer or the supplier of your home health needs equipment. Sometimes they have programs to assist you. So again, add to that network. If you have the mobile assistive devices, the powered wheelchairs, those kind of things, add those. Make sure those are charged before the storm hits. But also have maybe an ordinary wheelchair or other devices, cane walker, those kind of things that can assist you getting around should we lose power and you can't charge the device.
You know, that having that circle of family or friends is so important, even to the meals program as well. And you were talking about that because, you know, when the drivers go to deliver those meals, when you are delivering and open, they still have to get into the driveway, or they still have to get up their walk. And it makes it difficult on those drivers sometimes to get to those people's homes. And so you probably rely on the friends and family.
We do. And then the drivers will actually be prepared to do a little shoveling if they have to. Sometimes you can't get their doors open, so that's the only choice you have to get to them. So yeah, the network really helps our program out as well.
And you know, when the weather's bad, you know, you see neighbors pitching in and helping, you know, but you've got to get out there and let the people know that you need help, so the neighbors will pitch in and help you, don't you? So, yeah. I heard this a long time ago, and I don't know if it's true. I heard you should keep a candle in your car because it can supply a little bit of heat from that. Is that true?
The candle can. The problem with the candle is you've got an open flame, and you've got to be very careful about how you handle that. If you're going to use a candle, make sure you've got some kind of holder for it, as well as a globe or something to protect it. Actually, keeping gas in the car, being able to run the engine for a little while is probably a better idea. A lot of folks, and we're coming into the holiday season, so we know there's going to be candles out there. Candles, emergency managers and firefighters don't get along because of the increased fire danger. And this applies also to any alternative heating device, such as an electric stove or a kerosene heater, or even a wood stove in some cases. Make sure you're using those safely. Any open flame can be dangerous in an emergency situation, and people are relying on candles for light. We've got a very significant increase in the fire threat. So much better off using batteries, battery flashlights, or even your phone if you can keep it charged. Most of those have some lighting capability with them, or you can get apps that have flashlight apps for them. But then again, you're using another device that you may rely on for critical communications. Heaters, any alternative heater, make sure you've got that at least 3 foot of clearance around it. Anything combustible, drapes, clothes, bedding, anything that will burn, make sure it's well away from the heater. Make sure if it's an electric heater, you're only plugging one heating device in per outlet, because if you try to gang those up, you run them off a power strip and you're trying to operate multiple heaters, and now we've got a fire hazard again. So one heater per outlet. and again, make sure those are kept clear. If you're using a kerosene heater of any type, again, the clearance is important to maintain, but also we've got to have some additional ventilation. We've got to keep a window crack to keep fresh air coming into the residence or the area being heated, and it's going to run out of fuel at some point. So we need to make sure we're shutting that off, letting it cool, taking it outside where we put in new kerosene. Sometimes we want to light it outside because there can be some smoke when you initially light that. Turn that off and then bring it inside and relight it. That will help reduce some of the odor and some of the stink.
You had sent me some information on some websites, and I think we've got that up on the screen. That had a lot of good information. Winter weather checklist, and that kind of went through communications, food, vehicles, all of that. That was a really good website for people to get on and see what they, have a list right there you can check off. Yes, I've got this, I've got that. And then the other ones were from the ReadyGov Winter that told about some of the things too in the extreme cold. So I would suggest everybody to go on and check those websites out, and it's just some really good information. So,
just reminders.
Yes, just reminders. Print them out and have them there. So, well, thank you both for coming today. We're just about out of time. I know one thing is the weather radios. That's a good thing to have.
Always a good thing to have.
So we suggest going out and getting one of them. They're fairly inexpensive.
35. You can spend as much as you want on them, but you can find a good quality radio, National Weather Radio receiver, for about $35 or so.
There you go. So we'll suggest that to them. And
Christmas present.
Another great Christmas present. There you go. It will fit in a stocking too.
There you go. Well, thank you both for coming today, and this has been a big help. And please, everybody listening today, take it serious and get your emergency packs and things prepared for the upcoming weather. Thanks so much for joining us on Inside Area 9.